Obviously, when you're collecting LEGO castle minifigures, they also need to have some kind of castle. So today I'm going to show you the mock that I've been building over the past few weeks. The main faction of this castle is the Lion Knights from Kingdoms. Their king is the owner of this castle and lives deep inside of its walls with his wife, the queen, and his son. Unfortunately, the prince has met an unfortunate fate in the battle that is currently ongoing. He has given the order to protect it and its citizens. Aside from this, there's another faction at play here, namely the Order of the Fallen Star. This is my custom order made from the Dragonborn Paladin. I just really love the bulky look that they have through their armor, because I think it gives them like kind of this Dark Souls medieval look, which is something that you can't really find in any other castle factions. I just think they work like really well for any like elite knight order. Their mission is to protect the Cathedral from all evil, which is why they joined forces with the Lion Knights. On the attacking side, we have the army of the Crimson Eye, which consists out of my red dragons, fright knights, trolls and skeletons. Basically just every evil LEGO faction mixed into one. Their goal is to capture the sacred shining star crystal hidden and guarded deep within the cathedral for the powerful wizard to perform a ritual of ancient dark magic. The evil wizard, loyal servant of the shadow god called the Crimson Eye, has allied himself with different factions and persuaded them through promises of power and riches. Now, enough of all the lore, let's actually have a look at the castle itself. So first of all, you can see that I created a big battlefield in front of the castle. This is because I just personally think that it makes things a lot more interesting if you have actually like some kind of battle going on in front of it than just displaying the castle in its everyday life. Obviously, as I alluded to before, there's also the whole lore background, but that's only like a secondary part, obviously. Now, the attacking force consists only of trolls. This is because I wanted the attacking army to be a coherent army and actually be like a unified unit in this case. But in the addition to trolls, I also use dragons. This is because I think dragons give like a lot of different possibilities for staging interesting scenes in the battle, and they just give everything like a very interesting scale to it. Now let's actually have a look at the battlefield itself. Obviously you can see that a lot of knights have already been killed by the trolls, but you can also see that some trolls also have been defeated by the knights. I really love the big troll minifigures. This is because they give everything like a lot more dynamic feel to it. Instead of like only same size opponents, you have like some bigger ones. Also, you can do like a lot of fun stuff with them. For example, this technique where the big trolls are actually holding the corpse of a knight in their hand, which I just think is like a really cool visual. Furthermore, you can also like make them throw stuff. For example, this head of a decapitated knight, or in this case, the troll is throwing a whole horse. Now, coming out of the gate, you have like kind of your elite knights. These are like knights on horseback. These are like the knights that are kind of like barons and like generally higher in society, and which is why they can like afford these very expensive armor and like a horse in general. Now, in front of the castle, we have some rock work. This is basically only built with basic snot techniques. There are some plates and tiles on it to give it like a more rough and natural look, but overall it's a pretty simple technique. Now, on top of the outer castle wall, I built battlements. From these battlements, you can look down on the battlefield and shoot your enemies with crossbows. For the battlements, I really like the darker brown shade because I think it gives it like a more aged look in contrast to the normal reddish brown. Unfortunately for the Lion Knights, on top of one of the battlements, a dragon landed and actually fried one of the knights. I used the black hat to actually show that he's basically only coal now. Also, one of the knights is only hanging down from the battlements with one hand, and one knight actually fell to his death. Now, actually building the outer wall of the castle and the castle walls in general was a really part-intensive technique because I used a very detailed approach. It is in principle a very simple technique and very popular like in the castle community, but it's very part-intensive. Let me quickly show you what I mean. Now, for actually building the wall, the typical approach for Lego would be to use only light bluish gray bricks. But obviously you don't want your mock to look like just a Lego set, so you use several different parts to give the wall more detail. For my mock, I used 1x1 plates, 1x1 round plates, 1x1 round bricks, these incredibly useful ingot pieces, then obviously light bluish gray headlight bricks, normal gray bricks because obviously you need like a lot of them, and lastly the masonry brick, probably the best brick ever introduced for castle fans. And of course you need a lot of them. Now, using these bricks, you can actually create a really nice looking wall that is, in my opinion, the perfect compromise between time and looks, and hopefully manage to keep out all of the evil attackers. Looking behind the outer castle wall, you can see some lion knights that are getting ready to actually go into the battle. You can also see the main stairs that is leading up to the cathedral. I honestly cannot believe how many bricks it took to build these stairs. And on the other side, you can see a farmer that is bringing in food, because when you're getting attacked, keeping your soldiers alive is one of the most important things. Now, the part of the mock that I'm the most happy about is the cathedral. In my opinion, this is probably the best thing I've ever built. I should mention that it's my very first mock in this size. I've only built smaller mocks before, so I didn't really plan out everything beforehand. So I kind of ran out of space behind the cathedral, so it's only a wall. So there is no interior because I just didn't have any place left behind it. But this is something that I definitely want to fix when I'm building the next mock. So hopefully I'm going to plan it a lot better and plan in more space to actually build an interior, because I honestly love building interiors, as they give everything a very lively feel to it. I built the cathedral walls with the same technique for the outer walls, but I included a lot of stained windows, which I think makes cathedrals look very imposing. I also included some more details and statues, and just made it like very detailed looking in general. Now, the part I'm honestly most happy about is the rose window in the middle. Obviously, as I said before, it's only a wall of a cathedral, so there's nothing behind it, so it's kind of empty looking. But again, this is something I definitely want to change when I'm building my next mock. I think this is like one of the main appeals when you're actually mock building, that you can actually improve each single build by learning from the mistakes you did. Now, the last thing you can probably see is that there are some unfinished small pillars on the left and right side of the cathedral. This is again one of the things I would probably fix the next time I'm building a mock. I originally planned there to be like supporting towers for the main tower in the middle, but I unfortunately completely misplanned everything and I couldn't really remove some of the parts because they were anchored in the main construction. So if I wanted to take something apart, I would have to have taken everything apart. So honestly, I just left it like that. And again, the next time I'm going to build a big mock, I'm planning everything beforehand. Now, I really hope you enjoyed my mock. Again, the next time I'm building a mock, I'm definitely going to improve on a few things, so stay tuned for that. But overall, I'm really happy with the overall results. It took me several weeks to get there, and I think around 25 to 30,000 pieces, and obviously a lot of money. But that's the nice thing about building castles. Obviously, you can reuse all of the bricks in pretty much every castle build, so I'm really looking forward to doing this.